pretty accurate. I'm truly grateful for the time that I was able to go out there and do something that I was very passionate about doing. Grateful for all the love that was accumulated, all the many people that I met along the way. But for me, it was something that I had set out to do a long time ago, and so for me, it felt like a long odyssey that was coming to its end, and I just felt it. And I'd always told myself, no longer had the passion to play, then I would let it go and pass it on to the next up. And I felt like I was able to do that in Navarro, and continue my path on in life.
You're still only 33 years old. I mean, you could still be playing. Has there been any thoughts, since you announced your retirement in March of 2015, that maybe you could step back in?
No, it wasn't. Many people always tell me that I meet all the time, and they say, "Man, you retired too early. You still had so much left in the tank." And I usually ask them. I say, "Well, if I retired too early, then what is too late?" And for me, I felt like it was the perfect timing. My body, everything with the stars aligned for me. And again, I never set out to play this game for anyone else's expectation of what they think I should do and how I should do it. It was something that, I believed in myself before anyone else saw it. So, I'd never put that in anyone else's hands. So for me, it was the right time.
What you said at the retirement press conference was you talked a lot about the condition of your feet. How do you feel physically now, a couple years after you've retired?
Man, I feel much better. I feel much better not having that everyday grind, the everyday demand of the grind to have to put on my body. Again, it was something that I had signed up for. Uh, for me, my feet feel extremely better now. I can go and work out, even though I can't go as hard as I used to, and I can only go a little bit. And I have to know when to say, okay, this is enough. My feet have started telling me, and I listen to them. But again, now I don't have to force them to go over and beyond as I had to before.
Yeah, I mean, 7 full seasons in the NFL, 7 Pro Bowls. You were the Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2007. I mean, how do you look back on your 49ers career and what you were able to accomplish?
Yeah, again, I know many say it was too short, and they feel like I should be playing 18 years and 14 years and play. They feel like I should play as many years as other people played. And honestly, I began to ask myself, it's not so much about how long you play the game, but to me, it's about how effective you are playing the game. And if you only had a test that was 5 questions, and you had to you had to get three, or get three or more better. And if you get the closer you get to five, you would be um, you'd be well on. But if you had a test that was a lot more questions, then I guess you'd be graded off that. So for me, I say just check the film and tell me what you see, and I let it speak for itself.
Yeah, I'm. This is. I've been on the Hall of Fame selection committee now for 3 years, and I know when your time comes up, you'll be the first time eligible for the class of 2020. There will be a discussion about, yeah, the length of your career. And there's been some guys recently like Kenny Easley, who was voted in for the seniors committee, but Tony Baselli is one of these guys that had relatively speaking, a short career, but absolutely top-notch, outstanding superstar during those years. Do you think about the Hall of Fame? And for that class, you'll be up there against Troy Polamalu and Justin Smith and some others for first-time eligible guys. But is that something that you've given any thought to, a possible election into the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
No, not at all, man. For me, it's about I want every man to be able to get in. I wish every person who played this game could get in. It wasn't so much as a Hall of Fame thing like this. I feel like truly when the time is right for me to get in there, I will. Whether it be the first ballot, like I don't pay attention to all that because, as I said when I first was getting drafted, I was like, I just want one team to take a chance on me. Whether it's one team take a chance in these 7 rounds, and I'll show you what I have. And so for me, the whole Hall of Fame thing is, I mean, those guys like Troy, Justin, those guys, yeah, they played more years than me, and they were damn good.
Yeah.
Damn good. And so therefore, if those guys are voted in and they're up before me, then go for it. They're older. I'd rather for them to see themselves get in before they pass away. I'm a little bit younger, so I'm okay with that. I have no egos when it comes to that kind of stuff. When the time is right, I'll find myself in there. I believe so. I let that take care of itself.
You mentioned earlier that when it was time, that when you didn't feel the passion. Why do you think you didn't feel the passion in the 2014 season and leading into 2015? Why wasn't that there anymore?
I feel like for me, because it had been a long journey for me. It was a long journey, and me to get to where I got to. The pain in which I was just, going out with every Sunday, to put on a performance. I used to tell my guys, I used to be like, man, fellas, I'm telling you, if my feet didn't hurt so bad, like, man, this stuff would be even more fun. But I'm like, man, I'm getting tired, and the physical demand of the body, you have to your body has to be what it needs to be in order to carry you on. And my feet would just get to that point to where it was just taking a lot out of me. And plus, too, in my heart, Matt, I'd always felt that I wasn't going to play in the NFL for a long time. I mean, the NFL for me has stood not for long. It was about getting in, being effective. That's why I felt like from day one, man, you got to give everything you got, because just in case, the next play is not promised, and they can look at that play and say, you know what, he sure in hell did give it all he had that play. And for me, that's what it was all about. So when you look at the film, you can't say that was not a day in practice, not a day in the game that you can say, man, he took off. So maybe if I would have took more days off in practice and not put so much pressure on my feet, maybe it would have been different. But that's not who I am, and that wasn't a plan for me. So, again, I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, what kind of relationship did you have with Navarro Bowman? Because it seemed like you guys were not necessarily outwardly competitive with each other, but certainly inwardly. You guys, I think, pushed each other in a sense. How would you describe it?
Yeah. I mean, Navarro and I, we were both very competitive guys in the sense that we both took responsibility for our crafts, took responsibility for the job in which what we was asked to do within the defense, individually and also together. And so we took great pride in that, and we played well together, I feel like. And I was grateful to play with a young boy like him, with a young guy like him, and just be able to see him grow. And I mean, I had to learn how to grow as well, because I had to switch over and play in a whole another position that was kind of foreign to me. So again, when you go back and you look at my game overall, a lot of people won't take that. They'll look at the amount of years I didn't play, opposed to looking to what I had to go through to even perform, to put on the show that I did. So I tell people, like, man, learn to see it like from all perspectives, not just from, he didn't play 18 years or whatnot, so that he ain't credible. So some people that never played it down in their lives, and they get to do a lot of things that they're not credible to do. So,
Yeah. Were you surprised that it ended the way it did for Navarro? With John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan coming in and then kind of moving on from him pretty early last season.
Yeah, man, it's an unfortunate type of business. I mean, when you hot, you hot, and again, a lot of people, when I tell them, a lot of things came into consideration when it came time for me to make my decision, was that, in a big case for me was I knew I no longer had that same passion to go out and play and be who Navarro was actually um, being and becoming. And so for me, I felt like, in all honesty, that if I do not go now, why I feel the way I feel and have put on what I put on, like to stay and continue to like go as I was calling it, like go the other direction, not feel the way I wanted to feel about the game was not right. And so I feel like it was only right for me to go and pass it on to him so that he now can know what it's like to be the man, like to be absolute man. Because I'm telling you, it costs to be the boss. Like you don't just get to be, Patrick. And I'm not speaking about myself, but you just don't get to be that person, and it don't come with a whole lot of responsibility on your back, and you don't get to just be who people call the man, and it don't come with responsibilities on your back. So to see it all happen the way that it did, it was just like, man, I guess maybe they didn't see it that direction. They didn't see the same eye to eye. I mean, a lot of things I guess went on. I don't know. I wasn't there, so I can't really speak on it so much.
Yeah. Hey, here's something I wanted to ask you for a while. During your press conference, you talked a little bit about me and the relationship that we had. And people came up to me later and said, what was going on with you and Patrick during Patrick's career? And I said, I really don't know. But, so now I have you. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I remember, man. I think I remember some of it. I think I remember a little bit of it. What it was, I believe it was around the time when Michael Vick was coming out. I guess it was he was getting reinstated, and a lot of people wasn't sure about him getting on the team.
Yeah.
And I think we was in that midst of, they were talking about getting Alex a backup, and I was like, man, listen, y'all talking about getting David Carr, and no disrespect to David Carr, but I ain't seen him win,
Yeah.
and yet I've seen Michael Vick win. And if we just talking about trying to get the 49ers turned around, like we then bring in somebody like that if you serious. Like, don't be talking about we serious about making a turnaround, but we ain't serious about bringing in talent. At the end of the day, it's about talent on the field, not about off the field problem. Because everybody got off the field problems if you were to dig. So don't hold that against somebody. So when I made that comment about, I'd rather have Vic, something was said in some kind of manner or whatnot, and I just remember, I don't know if it was, I don't know, honestly, I don't know what it was exactly, man. I just know it was something that was said, and I just remember being like kind of trying to. Now when I look back on it, like it done no good other than just for a moment have an ego charge, but now like look where we are now. So
yeah, well, I can tell you, I always there was a time there where I sensed you and I didn't have the best rapport. But I just want you to know that I've always respected you as a person, and certainly respected you as a player. So I'm glad that we've gotten past our differences in the past, and now we can move on.
Yeah, for sure, man. But most definitely, I feel like it's a new day, a new way. So yeah, I appreciate it. And I've always felt at the end of the day like no matter what people say, we need you guys, and you guys need us, and what we can be on one accord is pretty cool. So
you're breaking up a little bit. I think I hear some
oh,
wind.
my fault.
Yeah, but I wanted to talk to you about CoachTube, because I didn't expect necessarily that you would be someone who would start coaching, and you're coaching online. There's some videos out there. Build the Beast. Patrick Willis teaches how to play linebacker, which I think is a fantastic idea. How did this come about, and can you talk about that venture of CoachTube?
Yeah. CoachTube came up. I met Wade, who is the founder of CoachTube, through a mutual friend, and him and I just started chatting, and the mutual friend that we have, him and I just kind of talked about some different things, and he was like, I have a buddy who's actually might be right up your alley, and I met him, and we had a conversation, and we were able to put together a few things, and which is just very introductional right now. I feel like I know some greater things are to come. Some greater videos, some more super in-depth videos. These are here kind of really just very basic, very basic things, and not even everything. So yeah, it's something that we're looking forward to growing and having a good time with.
And how many videos have you done?
This was actually my first video that we kind of cut up into pieces. So again, it was you're gonna be able to tell that again, my respect for coaches and how they able to articulate and better talk to each one of us as players and the way that they do sometimes. That's why you can tell great coaches ones who can connect with all players. And so for me, being able to articulate, I always kind of had that feeling of like, man, I know they say everybody who play ball. The concept everybody who play ball can be coaches, but that's not that's not true all the time. It takes a great deal to know how to coach. And so me doing some of this right here, is kind of maybe getting some of those butterflies out of my stomach so that maybe one day down the line, perhaps I might get into that field physically. But right now, kind of doing it with CoachTube kind of gives me that feel of where I can kind of intro myself into it a little bit.
And people, young players, they can go online on Google or whatever and type in CoachTube, Patrick Willis, and they can get all the information about how to watch these videos.
Yeah. They will be, and then again, as time goes, we're gonna be able to make it. We're gonna make it a little bit more fun, so it'll be a little bit more interactive with it. So, looking to do some great things with CoachTube.
Well, it's interesting. So much about sports. A lot of people say that the best players don't necessarily make the best coaches. You had Mike Singletary early in your career as a linebackers coach, then as a head coach. Are you surprised that he's his career didn't take off and become he's been out of a job a little bit, but now I know he's back in one of the kind of the lower leagues or one of the upstart leagues. How was Mike Singletary as a coach? Do you think it was difficult for him because he was such a great player to then coach certainly not yourself, but maybe coach some guys who didn't have the talent or the passion or the will that he had? Is that tough on a coach who's been a Hall of Fame type player?
That's a great question, and I can't speak on it 100% because I haven't really, tried the whole coaching myself. I know it can have its challenges, and I believe for Coach Singh, he had an opportunity to learn a lot. Being able having the situation that he went through, in his short time as being the head coach, I feel like I know there's some things he probably would, tweak a little bit here and there, but as far as him just being who he is as mentally, as a person, as he was as a coach, as he was as a player, I feel like for someone like myself, like I could catch his frequency, I could catch his energy, I could catch his vibration, but again, it brings out the true warrior in a person or whatnot. If you ain't got it in there, then you're gonna find out real early with his type of mentality. And for some people, it works that way, and for some people, it maybe works a little different. But I don't know, man. That's a real good question as far as like how come he hasn't, been, on been back up in the bigger limelight or whatnot. Perhaps perhaps he feels better at the. I don't know. I don't know.
A couple of weeks ago on the podcast, I had D'Amico Ryans, and he's the 49ers inside linebackers coach, and a guy who had a very good career, but has really embraced the long hours and the relatively little pay to be starting off as a NFL quality control coach and now a position coach. But is that something that you kind of are keeping the door open to being a position coach or an assistant coach in the NFL?
I never say no to anything. I always say like my door is always open to explore the possibilities. However, one of those things for me was when I retired to get away from the game. Like I always knew there was like those things that a lot of people don't realize that go into having to become, a team. And that a team is, coaches, players, staff. Everybody has a job to do, and I used to see how some of the coaches would never go home, and I used to be like, man, like that. you about just about as bad as I feel like they're having the players be up here all day, man. This feels like I, when
A
I'm
real
done,
job, huh?
yeah. I'm like when I'm done, I don't want no parts of this. I don't want to have to feel like my whole day is being gone, like doing this. Like this is a game. This game, I feel like take up most of your life, and
Yeah.
so and it has, it took up so much of mine. So for me, right now, and where I am in this space, I don't see that path for me at this time. Maybe later on when I'm around my 40s or something,
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
to
So
sit in one spot.
7 more years. Are you still in the South Bay?
Yeah. I am at the moment. I am at the moment.
And what's it like to be Patrick Willis in the San Francisco Bay Area? I'm sure you get recognized daily.
Yeah, it's well. It's well. Again, I've since being retired. Since being retired, I went through a great deal of what I call like just transformations. Just learning a lot about the self. Just learning how to be able to live, outside the game, and be able to learn that, deals with a whole lot of being okay with people either they know or they don't know. Like I don't get excited about when they do or when they don't. I just treat them as I want to be treated. So it's been well. Again, always grateful for the faithful fans and then just those who I meet who have no clue at all.
Right. And do you follow the 49ers? Have you watched, do you have a take on Reuben Foster as a player or the new guy, Fred Warner? Have you been able to watch them much?
I haven't, man. I haven't really watched. I swear, man. After I retired, man, I don't think of TV. I had cable, but I didn't watch TV at all. Like, didn't watch no football for the first couple years, and then I've been able to the last year, so I catch it from here to there. But yeah, I obviously I get whiffs and people tag me in different things and whatnot when it comes to some of the clips. And as far as Ruben go, man, he that young guy has so much potential, and he's gifted, and you can obviously tell the way he plays, the way he attacks the ball. I hope he learns to take care of himself in the aspect of his body in the way. I don't even want to say it like take care of himself and then hey don't play football, but he'll start learning when to get those certain kind of licks and when to throw his body in there a certain kind of way and different things like that. Because he ain't gonna want to keep getting banged up too much times like that. So he'll wisen up to some of that. But other than that, he is gonna be who he is, and he's from the SEC. So so I know he's gonna lead those guys. And as far as them as a defense, man, I mean they look like they got some hungry guys on the defensive line. Look like they have some potential. And again, like potential is just one thing. It takes a lot of work every day, day in and day out. And again, I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for those guys who I was able to play with in the front. Justin, Abrayo, Ray. Uh, it goes on. We worked every day together. Yeah, so they work together. I'm sure some great things are going to happen for them. Secondary looks pretty, pretty mean. They got some hitters back there. Of course, you got Richard Sherman here being a veteran, and hopefully, he has a great year coming off the injury he had. I'm sure he's confident and going to gain more confidence. And yeah, I wish him all the best. That's a big add-on for them as far as just leadership goes. So yeah, man.
Well, I know you got CoachTube going. I know you probably still do a lot of fishing. What else do you have happening? Are you going to make it out to a game or two this year?
Perhaps I might get to it. I'm not 100% sure at the moment. But if I do, man, I'll make sure I say what's up to you.
I appreciate that. That'd be great.
As far as just life, man, I just been enjoying the me time, just a lot of self-reflection and really almost like becoming anew again. I don't want to say being a baby, but learning how to be new at heart and yeah. So it's going well. going well, and I might be able to get out there this year for a game or two.